Yeah, this is pretty much how I look post the ab workout. We interviewed a local man, and this is what he had to say. You guys believe I have been sexualized before? This guy. I mean, you can grate cheese on that motherfucker. And I know this sounds crazy, but for it to make sense, we'll have to go a bit back in time. I decided to go back to training abs, so that's what I'm going to be doing. And I don't think that's going to be easy considering she has already set up camp on my thighs, and I have a feeling this is going to be a problem. Anyway, point is, might as well just start. I don't know how this is going to work because she decided to put herself smack in the middle of. I really hope I'm not going to crash your face. That would be unfortunate. So, I'll first of all do the usual amount of rollers that I do, and then I will do my variation, which I like to do at the end because at that time my muscles are the most fatigued, and that's when I believe I get the most results out of it. And while I am used to training abs shirtless, I need somewhere to put the mic, and I can't hang it off of my necklace. I tried. You might want to sit down for this. Are you sitting down? Story time. And since I can't orate and suffer at the same time, right? I'm doing a voiceover because one, free will. Two, I genuinely like the sound of my own voice. And three, why the hell not, right? And I'll start this story by saying I know that I'm very proud. It's been a conscious decision on my end to be very proud as I can possibly be, right? And most of my friends are always telling me, Alvin, you na kiburi. I was like, yeah, motherfucker, it's something I intentionally did, right? It's not an accident. So, that being said, I don't automatically assume that I'm everyone's type, right? Or like I'm the hottest person, or like I'm the smartest, or like I'm even among the top 100,000 of the most attractive people on earth, right? That would just be delusional on my end, okay? However, when certain things happen to me, they happen at a higher frequency than they would happen to other people because I've compared notes with my friends, both male and female. And honestly, I don't think these are incidents that cut across the board. Okay. So the one that took me the longest time to wrap my head around was the fact that men are hitting on me, right? Because I couldn't understand why men hit on me. I don't consider myself gay. I don't think I behave in a gay manner. Not that there's anything wrong with those things. Again, free will, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want to do. But I didn't understand why that was happening. So I walk up to one of my friends and I ask her, yo, might you be knowing why this is happening? Right? She asks me, has it occurred to you that they hit on you the same way you hit on women that you find attractive, right? And the women can either tell you you're not my type, I'm seeing someone, or just no or yes. And you should just approach it the same way they do it. Okay, it's not an indication of you as a person. It just means that someone found you attractive and that you're conventionally attractive. And I was like, oh, cool. I had not considered that, and that has shifted my perspective quite greatly. The same friend also told me that she likes having boobs because the same boobs allow her to get away with the things that she wouldn't get away with if she was a man. And I was like, isn't that the truth? Because I've been friends with you for a while and I know your ass. And that is the truth, the gospel truth, bro. So it reminded me of a certain incident where you've heard me say that I've been sexualized before, right? She's also done it. That's actually the reason why we became friends. But this is a different incident altogether. I was walking down the road, heading home, right? It was in the middle of the day. I was from the gym, and I ran into this friend of mine, and she hugs me. But she has this habit. See how chicks are always complaining when guys say hi to them. They have this lingering touch. They won't let go of your hands. Now she has a similar habit, right? When you hug her, she won't immediately let you go. She'll start touching on your waist or like touching on other things that she likes. So this particular day, we hugged her hands on my waist for a brief moment when we were talking, and then they moved slowly to my arms and chest. And I was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, what are you doing? We're in the middle of the road. It's in the middle of the day. I'm very sweaty. I did not consent to this.
Whoa, no touchy. No touchy. No touch.
Your horse is right freaking there. And aren't you married?" Her answer was very audacious. She was like, "So you're trying to tell me you don't want me to touch on you?" I was like, "No. Why would you automatically assume that you can just touch on me? we are literally in a sea of people, and any one of them could tell your husband that they saw you touching on a random man, and that would immediately endanger my life. And do you think I am willing to die over someone's wife? Oy, come on, man. So we get into it for a bit, and I tell her I don't appreciate what she did, and I make my way home. That was an incident that left a very bad taste in my mouth, right? But there was a different one that had a very pleasant effect on me, because if there's anything I like me a pervert with manners. I'm not even gonna lie. You can ask whatever you're asking, but if you ask it in a respectful enough way, I might just honor your request, right? So we're at an anime event, and you can cosplay if you want. And I was in cosplay. I was cosplaying Baki. I don't know how many of you know Baki, but he's a martial artist, and he primarily walks around in red pair of shorts, bandages on his wrists and ankles, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much how I was dressed, right? And I'm very anxious by nature. So I'm in a sea of people, and I'm very aware of the fact that I'm mostly naked. And when I try to forget it, there's someone I can hear mentioning it. Like, you walk with people, and because of how I'm built, they'll definitely stare. And some of them can't stop themselves from commenting and walking up to me and saying, da 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 da. So I was on edge pretty much the whole day. But when I managed to calm myself down, it was already in the evening, and I was starting to feel a bit chilly. I told my friends, let's go get some shots, because ordinarily I don't drink, but I know if I do drink, I'm gonna start feeling a bit warm. Okay, and my social anxiety is gonna go down significantly. So we get to the bar, but before we actually walk in, there's a bouncer who's like, excuse me, because this is an event that has kids, you can only walk in here if you're 25. The rest of the people 18 and above are going to be allowed in like 30 minutes. Okay, so I walk in, my friends are not 25, I leave them behind. I walk in, there's a lady who's selling shots. She starts striking a conversation with me, asking what I want to buy. I'm like, why the fuck not? That's why I'm here, man. We walk to the counter. She pours me two shots. I'm complaining, asking her why am I not seeing any lemons or oranges or anything that's served with a shot. Round two, round two, round two. And she's, getting them from underneath the counter, and she points behind me. She says, the people over there are calling you. I was like, excuse me? So I look behind, and I see this table full of people, and I do not know anyone there. She's like, yeah, they're calling you. So I see them ushering at me, and I do this whole cartoon gesture where I'm pointing myself and saying me, and I look behind. There's no one behind me because I'm at the counter. And I just took my shot, and I'm like, all right, I'll see you. Or maybe not ever. So I walked to their table, and I'm like, yes, you called? And it's like, yeah, we were discussing niche cosplays, and you was number five. I was like, really? I ranked five out of thousands of people? That's awesome. And she's like, why are you cosplaying as? So I tell them what I'm cosplaying as. And the lady I'm talking to, I think she's Indian. She was definitely not Kenyan. That light skin complexion is definitely not Kenyan. And her accent wasn't either. So, let me not say Indian. Let me say Asian. I don't want to sound accidentally racist. So she talks. We are talking, and her and her friends and the entire table. This table had like four women and three guys, out of which two guys were a couple, and there's one who's also Asian. I don't know his deal, but he was also there, right? And this lady says, would you mind doing a 360 for us? And I'm like, excuse me, ma'am. She twirls her finger around and says, would you mind doing a 360 for us? So Bucky doesn't have a bat, but I had a bat because I met a friend of mine who was cosplaying some guy who was a bat, metal bat, I think. So I took that, I took the bat from him, and I was just walking around the whole day with it, right? So I took the bat, swung it over my shoulder, and then gave them the show. I hadn't even finished turning. These people went up in screams, and everyone around was staring. I was like, it took me by surprise because I honestly didn't expect it, right? So everyone is staring. I'm confused. They are very, very, very excited. They can't even hold the excitement. And I'm just like, this is how it should be done. This is how you should sexualize someone, because they drew attention to me and drew more attention than I ever wanted, and I didn't feel weird, grossed out, or like I needed to hide or clothe myself, right? So we continued talking. They actually bought me shots. By the time my friends were making their way to where I am, I was very drunk. I was really, really drunk. I felt like a pretty girl at a party. Like, I was getting shots left, right, and center. I didn't even need to ask. They're like, "Oh, dude, do you like?" Oh, I'm like, "Ah, cool." So they poured me several shots. My friends get there, and I can barely stand because I hadn't eaten. And I was looking for water because you can't get into the event with water. My friend walks in, she has a cocktail, and there's another in her hand. And I'm like, can I have that? She's like, you can have this, is mostly water. I was like, thank you, heavens. So I took the cocktail, walked around with my friends because we were supposed to go out and go drinking with some other friends of ours, and I left there narrating the whole incident on how that went. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. I mean, a lot can happen in 30 minutes, but that was quite an intense affair. But I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel grossed out. I didn't feel pissed off because the way they did it was very respectful, right? They didn't overstep. And I feel like that's where the difference is. In one, the consent, they had my consent, right? And in the other, someone just felt entitled to it, and I really, really hate that. So yeah, I do believe that's the end of my story. And you guys should definitely tell me if you enjoy story time with my workouts. I could make this a permanent fixture. And if you don't like it, well, I'm sure arrangements can always be made and it can be taken out. But all in all, that's it for today. And I hope you found this entertaining and informative. And I do hope you like and subscribe and do share with your friends. And I will be seeing you, or you'll be hearing from me in the next episode. Bye bye.